I love my travel journals because although there are a lot of ways to record your memories, I really find that drawing something makes a huge difference. So here's just a simple sketch I did with my feet. You can draw, you know, your phone, a porch, a cup of coffee. You can do doodling. You can, you know, draw what you're eating on the plane. You can do what you're reading. Here is a sketch from, you know, New York City, or just little people and stuff like that with some pretty lettering. Here I often, while I'm waiting at the airport, will sketch out people. Here's a sketch in a different orientation, so you can see there I am drawing a person who I was looking at the back of. You can draw roller coasters, you can draw statues. I sometimes have things upside down, and that's totally fine, you know, and sometimes it's completely colored in and sometimes it's not, but I'm just having fun doing practicing. Here's a great example of just I'm waiting to have lunch and I'm just drawing the things that I see right on my table. So let me show you how easy this is. I know you're going to be intimidated and think that you can't draw, because I actually happen to believe that I can't draw, but I've really learned that it's practice. So we're going to start with some watercolors, and I'm just going to go ahead with some water and spray my watercolors with water so they're nice and juicy. Now, as fun as it is to use the any kind of brush, I do find that a water brush is great because you can just squeeze a little bit of water out on there and really wet things up. Now, it's not hard to draw. So I have this great ring that I picked up on a trip. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna think about, what does it look like? Well, it looks like a sort of shape here and another shape here and a blob there and a sort of big shape here. So far, we all agree that we could do something like this, right? So one of the things you can do if you want to get a better look at an object is you can just take a piece of foam and press it right in, and that'll give you a more clear angle on what's happening. So since I've already started this one, I'm gonna go ahead and mix up the color that I want. I'm gonna try to get this silver. So I love mixing my own colors. I'm gonna take a little bit of brown, put it onto my mixing palette, maybe with a little bit of sort of black color, add some more brown. You just keep playing around with it until it's the exact color that you want. And just trying it out on my paper towel, I think this is right. So now, even though this green is wet, and even though I've changed the position, drawing is not hard. We're just gonna play around here. And if it's too dark, go ahead and squeeze some water out onto your paper towel, because this is the wonderful forgiving thing about watercolor. It's just gonna pull away and make that a little bit lighter. And then if you wanna do, let's say, like the little detailed dots around here, remember, this is not a photo. It doesn't have to be exact. You're just trying to get a little bit of a replica. So I'm gonna add maybe some little just like pull away dots here. And I notice, of course, that there are 2 lines of them. But the good news when you're drawing is that nobody is ever looking at the original source that you drew from, only you know. And it's just supposed to capture the feeling of it. It's not supposed to be realistic. That's what we have photos for. So now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna paint in some of the details. Again, wet into wet. So I might take a slightly more concentrated bit of that brown and black color that we mixed up and draw maybe some of these lovely curly cues and stuff like that in there, and they're gonna bleed out and blend all over, but that's exactly what I want. If you didn't want it to bleed or blend, then you would just go ahead and you would wait for the watercolor to dry. And I can do the same thing with the green. You can see that there are lots of different colors of green in this box. So I'm going to choose a slightly darker green. I could, of course, mix up my own custom green if I wanted. And I'm going to go ahead and try to add in a couple of those little details. Again, I'm not really drawing, you guys. I'm just following what I see there. If it looks kind of like it, great. And if it doesn't, then I had fun. Okay? So once that's all drawn in, you'll see that I painted in the background as well, and that's what you have here, just a nice colored background, my basic shape. So now I want to take a permanent black pen and I just want to add in some of the details. And you'll notice that I've chosen a tip width that's maybe a little bit on the small side so that I can really get some of that detail. And this is my opportunity to really define like the little bindi in the center of the Buddha's head a little more, maybe some of the eyebrows, really get the eye shape and the little wrinkles and stuff that I can see. It's just an opportunity to define things that may have gotten a little bit messy in the watercolor, but then you've got all this beautiful soft color behind it, so it's a wonderful layered look. So I love it. Now I'm just following along with what I already have here, referring back occasionally to the ring to make sure that I get that as well. But you can see how quickly our face starts to get defined. So then I love to add lettering. Now lettering does not have to be anything fancy. So for instance, I can just draw some easy block letters out if I want, like let's do the word the. But if you're at all nervous about drawing letters, I have a great trick for you. So I'm going to take some fluorescent gel pens, which are nice and opaque. Now obviously after I draw the letter, I can take a fluorescent pen and I can just go ahead and color in what I have here, and that's just gonna be a great look, okay? But what if I'm nervous about drawing the letter in the first place? Well, here's my tip for you. Let's write the word story with the gel pen, okay? Just like that. You don't have to block it out or anything fancy. And again, this is my messy, normal, regular handwriting. And then I'm gonna take my black pen and I'm going to outline it. Can you see how easy that is? And so now I already have the shape there. I don't have to think too hard about it, which I love, because not thinking is the key to creating awesome stuff. I think sometimes we get frozen when we're making something because we're so worried about making a mistake. And if you make it so that either you don't care about mistakes or it's hard to make a mistake, then I think you're in really good shape. So you can see that once you've traced that, it's super easy to go back in and color it up. And you can do the same thing, of course, with any of the doodles. If you look at my finished page, which I'll bring right over here, you can see I did lots of doodles in the background. And again, these are not shapes that are difficult to do. If you want to do these dash lines, it's literally just a little rectangle, okay? Adding rectangles. The triangles are interesting because there are so many of them. It's just like flower arranging. If you want to have a really interesting arrangement, grab 30 roses and suddenly it's fascinating and you didn't even have to do anything. But you know, the thing that really makes the lettering pop on here is the shadow. And I have this little chart that I've drawn for you so that you understand that shadows can only be on two perpendicular sides, okay? They can never be parallel. They have to always be perpendicular. So what I mean by that is you can have a shadow that is on the right side of something and under, that's perpendicular. You can have something that's on the right side and over, again, perpendicular. You can have something that is on the left side and under, perpendicular, or you can have something that's on the left side and over, okay? Super easy to understand. So let's apply it to our lettering. Again, I like to use the opaque gel pens because I think that they really give it some pop. So we're gonna give our letters a shadow on the right side and under. So here you can see, this is the right side of the T. This is the right side of the T. This is the underneath of the T. This is the underneath of the T. The right side of the H and under and right. And this is right, okay? We're gonna do right and under, right and under, right and under, and there are a couple more rights in there. But can you see how that the now seems to pop right off that page? It's a really fun and easy idea, okay? So if you look back at some of my finished pieces here, you can easily see how I've added a shadow to my lettering to really make it pop off the page. So wherever creative inspiration strikes, be ready.